18 months, and in the short time I've been here, you know, there's been a lot of peaks and a few valleys that I've had to deal with. But some of the best peaks I've had are when I've gone out and visited with y'all at the stations and hung out and chatted about what's going on in the department. Because that's really what we as you know, people who work at 7A South, really all of us, any officer, any acting officer, any chief officer, we need to remain engaged with the people who are actually doing the job. You know, because it's great that we stay up there and we have these great and grandiose ideas about what the department needs. But the reality of it is a lot of us haven't ridden on a rig for a long time. And so I do that by going out to the stations, and I do it by going out and talking to people like Chief Russell and kind of getting my finger on the pulse. And you know, Chief, come over here. So this isn't a hazing.
You know me, that doesn't bother me a lot anyway. So.
But you know, every time I've gone over there, Chief Russell's provided me insight and depth and background into Dallas Fire Rescue. And he says, you know, he says, I appreciate and respect your thoughts and your ideas. He says, but let me tell you how that applies here. And so he's kind of helped guide me through some obstacles. Now, there's been times when he's provided me insight and advice, and I've said, I appreciate that, but let me go walk this path and fall on my face a couple times, and I'll get back up and dust myself off, and I say, you know, he was right. Because I have to learn it, and I know we all go through those moments. But you know, Chief, what you've done for this department and the legacy that you leave with our firefighters and our department is really beyond any words that I can say.
Oh, I appreciate it.
You know, the level of respect, the level of commitment you have, and the respect other people have shown to you, and all the positive stories I've heard about you. Because you know, we're firefighters. And surely as I go around, you think somebody's going to make some statements one way or another, because we all have two sides to the story. I've only heard positive things about you, so you're probably like me. You're paying a lot of people off, and you know.
No, they're scared actually,
hey,
and intimidated. So
yeah. Whatever works for whatever style. But you know, y'all coming to come here and hear the chief talk about high-rise operations and critical operations and some of our most challenging operations that we face every day really is a testament to the legacy that he has left to our organization. And I'm trying to convince him to remain engaged in some way, because we don't want to lose that knowledge. You know, there's so much institutional knowledge in our department that because of pension reform, we're going to start losing. But we have to find a way to capture that and continue to bring that back to our department, because that's really key to our long-term survivability and to your all's safety. So with that, what I want to do, he's getting a collection of these, by the way. So I have the Fire Chief's Coem for Dallas, and I want to present it to you as my way of saying thanks for all you do.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. People ask, why did I do this? I'm heading out the door. Much is given, much is expected. I use a lot of four-letter words and everything, but I have a pretty strong faith. I've been given a talent for some reason. I don't know what it was. Maybe I've just been here so damn long that for some reason I always migrated, or I was drugged down the hall, midnight transfer back downtown. 1969, I made second driver with 2 years on. Made 7 of us. I wrote a letter to go to Oak Cliff. 6 of them went to Oak Cliff. I went to 12 engine, Station 4, double engine house. I didn't know anything about anything. I had a good captain. That's what y'all have to be. Good officers. He took me in, he said, "You're from the Grove, right?" I said, "Yeah, that's where I was a rookie in Pleasant Grove." "How much fire you fought?" "I fought some out there. I swung 5 district, 6 district, fought fire out there some." I said, "But I'll be honest with you, Cap, I don't know what to do." I had no idea really what to do, because I'm the one that, "Lou, what do you want?" "Cap." "Okay, you get on the nozzle, take it in." He and I'm going to go over this real good. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. This job is simple. Look at us simple-minded people. Hell, we've been doing it all these years. It's a simple job if you keep it simple. Look at the guy walking out the door there. He's simple-minded. So. He was in rookie school when I was out here as a chief or captain or whatever I was when he was here. He told me something that made my job easy. He said, you've got one room going, lay a high pressure, red line, what we had back in there. If you got 2 rooms going, lay a big booster. If you got more than that, lay a line. That made my job easy. I didn't have to think. That's easy. When I get in high rise, I'll talk about the first high rise I had with 26 months on the nozzle, 17th floor of the old Southland building. No power in it, no light. We're going to go through things here today, but I'm going to approach it not from a lieutenant having to be assessed to run a 4-alarm fire. We're going to talk about a lieutenant pulling up on a dumpster fire behind a paint store. What do? You say, go up there and put that nozzle in there. Or do you look at the building, see what it is? You might go up there and put your head over there and it's got aerosol cans and everything that takes your head off. Might be behind a hardware store and the damn propane tank blows. That's what a lieutenant needs to know. A driver needs to know. I don't even run a 4-alarm fire. You have to take ownership. How many of y'all are privates that hadn't been on very long out there in the real world? Folks, when you walk through that door, you get on that rescue. That's your rescue. That's your rescue that day. You might be on there with a 15 or 20-year veteran, know what he's doing paramedic, but that rescue's still yours. You've got to take care of it. If he's screwing up or he's doing things you don't think is right, then you've got to correct that by going to the officer and say, hey, this ain't right. You can't sit there and tolerate it. If you really have a concern about it. If you're a driver on that engine, it belongs to you. If you come to 4 Station at 6:15, you go out there, you check the fuel, and it's at half a tank. What are you supposed to do? What's it supposed to be at? 75%, 3/4 tank, right? We fill them up. Okay, you're going to wait till 6:30 because you don't want to wake Chief Springer or somebody up because you pull it out. What happens if the bell hits? 2 hours later or an hour later, you're pumping down there and, oh shit, engine 4 to command, I need fuel. Whose fault is that? Is it, if you're B shift, is it A shift driver's fault? You can blame him. But it's your fault that you didn't pull it out at 6:15, put fuel in that thing. It's the same way if I relieve Tammy. SCBA's at 2800 and the radio battery is almost dead. The Imager battery is sitting in there in the middle. The radio's down to about 25%, and the bell hits. Well, I get out there, my battery goes dead, I'm in a high rise. Shit, I don't have any air. Whose fault is that? I can blame Tammy. Why didn't you take care of this when you got back at 4 o'clock in the morning? I have to take ownership of that. It's my responsibility. Keep it simple. Use resources, evaluate every step, fix the problem. That's what we're here for. To fix the problems. You got a personnel issue? Fix it. Evaluate. Who has the ultimate responsibility for being prepared? Who has the final accountability? Ultimately, it is your responsibility to be prepared. The accountability cannot be delegated to someone else. Mark can tell somebody, I want you to go up there and cut a hole in that roof. And you'll find out I'm a big vertical ventilation guy. That captain goes up there. He gets up there. He cuts a hole. Guy falls through. We all know the new procedure, or not new procedure, the procedure safety precautions we're supposed to be taking. Mark can say, you dumb captain, why didn't you have a ladder up there? Now, whose fault? Yeah, it's that dumb captain, but he's still accountable for it. That's just like what I was talking about, that driver on that engine. He don't put fuel in there, and he's hadn't asked for fuel out there when he's only been there an hour and a half. Guess what? Lieutenant, captain, driver that's riding the seat, who is accountable for that? You are. You should have handled it. Your driver or your private that's driving, that should have been established the first day y'all met each other. If that apparatus is not full, pull it out and fill it up. First thing you do. Make sure it's got water in it. You have to take ownership. You're a lieutenant on that engine, you got the sorriest captain in the world, he don't want to do anything. That's his problem. That truck is not yours. That engine is yours when it pulls out that door. You new lieutenant, that's yours. The city has entrusted, and the citizens has entrusted, and these chiefs has entrusted $1.2 million of apparatus that when it's running, it is yours. You're not in charge of that anymore. Don't worry about it. Oh, the guy that's in charge of it, he's somewhere. But anyway, that is yours. I have people, we all know what Plymouth events are for. To keep her from getting cancer. I had prostate cancer 2009. And the union didn't do anything for me either, so anyway. Good Lord, I had my checkup here a few months ago and everything's great. But that's back when I thought I had leather lungs and I could do a lot of things. We had 15-minute masks. I came to work wearing friggin' rubber boots that didn't have steel insole, had a canvas coat, had a plastic helmet and cotton gloves and a 15-minute mask. And that's where I learned how to fight fire. And that's the reason I eat people out. I tell people. And I've got guys that went through, I know people think one district people are probably the outlaws, which they are. I've inherited it and I've been the cause of it probably. People think, well, they take way too many risks. They do things they shouldn't do. They go in, and we're talking about what is a vacant structure or whatever. They do things they shouldn't do probably. Well, folks, I don't have many shifts left. I've been doing this, I told y'all, a hell of a long time. All my people's going home the next morning. Is that something on me? No. First day Kyle, and he's been one of mine for a long time though, George been for years, so I'm sorry to say, but
88.
Captain Roy just went there. We train the first day you get there to know what you're supposed to be doing. It's not anything I did. It's those guys that get their people home the next morning. That's your job. You privates, brand new people, that's your job to know your job. Is it his fault? I'm not picking on Mark. Is it anybody's fault you can't drive an engine? Whose fault is that? If you're a captain out there, that's your responsibility to get this person ready to drive. It's Captain Roy's responsibility to put two guys got 6 months on the damn fire department on Rescue 18 to make 30 runs a shift. That's reality. It's kind of like I probably irritate some chiefs when I call and I'm hearing them talk to we're swinging somebody and they ask them, well, can he drive? Is he a paramedic? How long has he been on? Well, they get a real good answer from me. Which one of the friggin' 14 rookies you want? Run your district. I don't ask that question. I get a higher back lieutenant and never even seen a damn high rise down at 18s. I'd rather have my Egypt rookie down there riding it. That's royalty right here. His daddy was a general in the Egypt Army over here. Guy I grew up with. Do y'all have silver spoons over there or gold? I don't know, but he's a... I don't ask that question. It's my responsibility to run my district. Just like it's your responsibility to run that station. If I call Captain Roy, or the driver calls Captain Roy, that's another thing you'll find out. When we call, we talk to whoever's in charge of that station. I've been on the other end. My chief didn't like me. He liked his dad, so he talked to him all the time. Y'all can clear up and go home, or you can do this and that. I ended up being his relief man in 3 district at one time, so. He just didn't like lieutenants for some reason, but we call that officer. We call the driver if you're riding the seat. I call down 24. Hey, who's riding the seat? Brian is, Brian Jones. Okay, let me talk to him. You need to swing somebody. They know what they need at that station that day to run it. I don't know what he's got. I don't know what he needs. I know some chiefs, they say, who you swing today? I want to write it down. Fine, look on the 140. You'll find out if he's there, if he's not there, if they swung him somewhere else. It's pretty simple. Take ownership. I can't make you learn anything. I can try to motivate you to do it, and I try to teach you things. You're all interested in spending your own dime today, and this is your own time, and I really appreciate it. And no, I'm not getting paid either. I told my luxurious buddy over here I didn't want any money. But this proves to me you want to take ownership by being here. It should prove to the whole department you guys want to take ownership. Folks, we have a lot of fun in here. We agitate a lot, and at one time I probably was a pretty good agitator in my life. But this is a serious job. When you have to bury people that you fought fire with, you've laid on the floor with them, You dig on a 6-alarm fire, dig for 2 hours trying to find somebody underneath there. This is a serious job. Don't ever forget that. Have fun. Enjoy it. But that end game, it's serious. Oh, that's okay. You know, you're not going to need that mask. You know, we can 2,800 fine. You don't need it. Well, folks, if you ever been inside buried up in one, you want every air thing you can suck out of it. You want that battery on that radio ready to go. Decisions. 2 types. Planned, deliberate, calculated. Those are our strategies. We'll get into strategies a little bit later. Automatic, reflex, experience-driven. Those are things you don't have to think about. We do it every day. You intubate, going 50 miles an hour down the highway, you do it every day. You start an IV out there, you know what to do. We go 2 in and 2 out, we put a backup line, that's automatic. We do it every day, that's an automatic deal. I mentioned this to the new captain over here. It's like being a lieutenant, it's easy, it's automatic. Oh, we got a 1-story fire, quick attack and pass command. We hear it all day long in there. Is that really a size up? Is that really? You're doing it and you're getting by with it, but that's really not. You're getting paid $80,000 or whatever it is to be a lieutenant, to be the incident commander when you get there, to see what you're doing, make a decision, and do it. Now, we don't want to give a dissertation on the freaking radio when you report out, you know. Because a lot of time I'm sitting there going, when can I talk, you know? So, every incident, emergency or non-emergency, you have to make decisions. Handling personal issues, daily activities. What do you ask yourself when you first start making your decision process? What do you base your decisions on? These are questions you need to tell yourself and ask yourself. Do you willingly accept the responsibility for your decisions? Do you change when the outcome is not what you anticipated? Are you hard-headed like some of our people? I'm right, it don't make a difference. I'm not changing. Do you act or react? Do you think about the accountability and does it affect your decision? I'll go back in on this, do you act or react? I used to think I react when I get to a scene. Something not what I think it is, I'll react to it. I don't do that. I act. I don't react at a fire. I better know what's going to happen. I have lived, dreamed, fallen. The only thing I probably hadn't had is an airplane crashing. I've had helicopters crash. I had an FBI helicopter crash in the middle of the road one time in North Dallas. I had the one that crashed on Method Hospital, Careflight Hospital, a few years ago. I've had so many friggin' bomb scares and everything when I was a second driver during the Vietnam War eras downtown. We've had high-rise buildings we've evacuated because of bomb scares. White powder. Certain guy in here calls me and wants me to come out in another area because of Ebola. And it's not, I don't know if the good Lord punished me or whatever, but I've done all of it. But next shift, there's just come up that I don't know what the crap's going on. But I better be able to act to it immediately, not react to it. I better know what I'm going to do. That's like y'all. Better go around, if they're digging a new damn big hole like they're going to build the biggest high-rise downtown right by the 1818 Corsicana, right in the back door of the shelter down there. You better drive by and look and see what's going on. I'll mention this, Kyle he was in here the other day. Engine-Ch, Lieutenant. They're building some new apartments at Corinth and Akron. He'd drive by there and look, the patio doors. They're roll-up doors. I've never seen that in an apartment house. He calls True Love, they go down there and look at it. Well, it's not react now when we pull down there, we know they're there. I preach this and I preach this. That captain, there was a submarine captain in World War II that was at Ford's when I went down there. He told me to learn the exceptions. That's what's going to burn you. Second shift, I'm at there. I'm driving 12 engine. We're first in on an old medical arts building, fire coming out the 3rd floor. What in the crap? I got hooked to a standpipe. I got to start pumping. But he told me that first shift I walked in, learn the exceptions. Exceptions downtown. There's a plug on every corner. It might not be on this corner, but it's across the street. Commerce is one way downhill, Elm one way uphill. It's been that way forever, and it'll stay that way. 1901 Pacific. If you pull on Pacific going hook to a standpipe, you already hooked to the wrong building. It's on the Elm Street side. You go to that green building and you're hunting for a FDC, a connection, you can circle it till next week. You won't find it at that building. It ain't there. It's diagonally across the street at that building. That's where all the fire pumps are, or the bottom of that building. Pacific, Commerce, Main, Elm, 1500 block is a double block. There's a plug in the middle of it. I learned that half a century ago. It hadn't changed. You learn your exception. We'll talk about fire later on. We're getting high ride about there on Park Lane. I think it was Park where the 2 people got killed. There's a senior living area. They had a fire in there. Engine hooked up, standpipe. The only problem is each wing's got its own standpipe that supplies that wing. They hooked to the wrong one. No water. Any of y'all made that fire on A shift? I'm not saying anybody screwed up, and I'm not putting the blame. The 2 people, elderly people that died in their room, they probably could have, they might have died anyway. I know we went out there that morning. That's another story why we had to go out. But we went out there that morning, not to overhaul, but for an injured fireman on the scene. There wasn't anybody in it. Anyway, we went there and looked. It is elevator. Friggin' doors are blistered, the paint's gone. All down the hallway, every wing, is paint's gone. They laid a line from that standpipe they hooked to, couldn't get there. Couldn't get there. It happened to be the truck officer on the second truck coming in that knew the standpipes situation, because he was the driver at 37 Engine for a while. There's 2 of those buildings out there just like it. He knew that. They pulled to the back, set their aerial on the third floor, hooked to the lines on the end of their ladder pipe, went up there and put the fire out. He knew the exceptions. I can brag on him because it's my son that was on 17 truck that did that. He did not brag. He knew his job. I don't know why the other, and I'm not putting blame on anybody, that's not what I'm out here for. I'm just telling you, learn your exceptions. There's no way that we can learn everything down there. But we can learn the exceptions to things. So that's the way we learn. And remember, this me, you do what you want to. This is not Howard Russell's, and this is not Battalion 1B shift way you do things. This is the Dallas Fire Department. And my little simple mind, things that got me through the last over 50 years now. I have learned not to react. All you that got kids, you learned a long time ago, don't be surprised what comes in the door with them and what happens. Because it's a new world, especially if you got girls and they're teenagers. So. The 3 questions, I call them the 3 W questions that I ask myself when I'm making a decision and someone calls me, like Rudy used to, or now Deere does it, or somebody else, Zach used to, or whoever else I've had. What are we doing? I want to know what we're doing. Is that right, Mark? What's the reason? I want to know clear and concise. Well, what do you want me to do, and what do you want? Don't tell me generalization. I want to know, what do you want? It's so important you call me that I have to make a decision on something. Who? And who in the world is they? I have empathy for paramedics. I don't have any sympathy. Keep it simple, fix the problem. Why? Why are we doing things? What's the cause and effect of what we do? What are we doing? Who wants it done? And why are we doing it? I find those things out before I make a decision. Some of us that was in the era of Chief Miller in old times, he read a book, or he just happened to bring something up at a deputy chief meeting or a chief's meeting. Next thing I know, we're spending a week, 2 weeks of doing research, coming up with all this crap, and they go down and turn in. What are y'all doing? I didn't want this. Because somebody didn't ask these questions. Keep an open mind, listen, keep it simple, use resources, fix the problem, evaluate, fix the problem, and evaluate.